Kathy, are we ready? Is our AV person ready too? Are we all set up? Thank you, Mike. Okay, it is 7:01, and I'd like to call to order the Thursday, February 8th, 2024 meeting of the Waukegan Planning and Zoning Commission. Can we have a roll call, please?
Anderson? Here. Bill?
Here.
Grimes?
Here.
Haug?
Here.
Haynes?
Here.
Rivera? Rodriguez?
Here. We do have a quorum.
I'll make motion. Smooth.
Motion by Commissioner Bill to approve, second by Commissioner Grimes. Any comments, discussion, corrections on the motion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Grimes?
Yes.
Haug?
Yes.
Haynes?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries, minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is audience time, and this is an opportunity for anybody in the audience here that wants to address the commission, whether it is on an item that's on the agenda or on any other item. You will have a 3-minute limit. Is there anybody here who wants to address the commission?
I want to address the commission regarding the Lincoln Center fence.
Okay, well, that's going to be a hearing. That's coming up in new business. You'll have a chance to ask questions or make comments at that time if you'd like. Okay? Thank you. Okay, moving on to old business. Item 3, zoning calendar number 2741. This is a request for a conditional use permit for a community center in the B2 Community Shopping District at 1428 West Glen Flora Avenue. I'd like to ask city staff if there is any new information. Before we start, I just want to remind everybody, we had the hearing on this last month. Okay, complete hearing, and after much discussion, the commission decided to hold it over to this time because they wanted to get more information on some of the information that was being presented. And so tonight, we are not having a complete new hearing. We're not going to rehash everything all over again. This is just an opportunity for any new information to be presented and for the commission to make a decision based on not only the hearing last week, but also the new information. So are we ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners, members of the public. My name is Sam Green. I'm an assistant planner here at the City of Waukegan. Here today to provide an update about our project at, if it would go, there it is. Our project at 1428 West Glen Flora Avenue, a conditional use permit application for a community center filed by Club Apaseo El Alto. This case was, as the chairman stated, heard at last month's meeting and continued to this meeting. As a reminder, this is the former Office Plus location on Glen Flora. Club Apaseo El Alto is currently operating within the city at 1220 Grand. They're hoping to relocate to this newer, larger location. Their business or their operation is providing classes, guitar classes, English classes, computer classes, as well as a food distribution component. Some updates from the last month. City staff has met with the applicants a number of times to clarify components of the operation, to address some of the concerns that were raised by members of the public and members of the commission at last month. And as a result of that, I'll get to that in a second. They've also submitted a new parking plan. As you can see, that front area has been tweaked to do angled one-way parking with 2 curb cuts on Glen Flora Avenue. As it is currently, it's an entire curb cut, so this will be adding landscaping. This is on the agenda to be heard by the Development Review Board next week. So it is not approved yet, but we have not heard any objections from members of City Hall yet. So more updates. We've made a few tweaks to the conditions, specifically number 6. The parking is a condition, so we limited the capacity, you may remember from last month. Since they removed one spot with this new layout, we lowered that capacity down from, I think it was 63 to 61. Changes to number 10. So the information was provided to us about the food distribution component. Greater detail was provided, and a planned schedule has been attached. The appointment-based recommendation is continuing. We have added that it may only occur on Fridays and on Sundays. Those are the days they are planning for. We've also added that it may not coincide with scheduled classes to happen at the community center. Last month, we recommended during school pickup and drop-off times and during their classes, their Friday schedule does plan to interfere with school pickup and drop-off. So we removed that. An important thing to note, we do recommend in our conditions that not more than 10 cars per appointment window are served, and an appointment window to be 30 minutes. The applicant has stated their intent to do 10 cars in 15-minute appointment windows. So city staff is recommending 30, so you're aware. I encourage you to work with the applicant to settle that final number. And then lastly, condition 11, we just tweaked the language a bit since they have submitted their parking landscape plan. We ask that they do that in the standard time frame within 24 months of the approval of this conditional use permit. Before I move on, there's a couple things that we would like the commission to consider that are not explicitly laid out in the conditions. The first of those would be adding a condition that all the food distribution should be with pickup people remaining in their car. As you can see in the written plans that have been included in your packet, there was a proposal for, I think it was the bread distributions for the people to park and come inside the building. Staff is recommending that the commission adds a condition that they stay in their car. The second recommendation for you all is to add a condition about not providing overnight accommodations, no residential sheltering accommodations. Their hours are to end at 10, and that is the last hour that people can be in the building. Once again, this body is making their recommendation to the City Council based off of these findings of fact. These are the standards of the approval that they make. I'm happy to answer any questions of the commission that they might have.
Any of the commissioners have any questions for city staff? Commissioner Haynes.
I do. Tyler, looking at the layout that we have in our packet, the one that's more architecturally drawn rather than the one on the back, it looks as though the grass is going over the sidewalk. Is that in fact the case, or no? Am I misreading this drawing?
Yeah, it's difficult to read. I can put it back on that for, you can see that bottom area with the trees. Is that the area you're talking about?
Just what I would say south of the trees, there's a sidewalk, and then there's a section of grass. It's not all grass there, right?
Yeah, so if this is approved, they would work with our engineering department in the permitting process to make those improvements, even though that is on the city's right-of-way. With driveways and parking lots, that sometimes occurs.
Any other questions for city staff? Okay, I'd like to ask if the applicant would like to make a statement regarding these new findings, or if the applicant has any new information to present.
Yes, we do.
Okay, please come forward. Are you the only two who will be speaking?
Yes.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Both of you, I'm going to swear you in.
He's just asking if anyone else wanted to speak.
Okay, the three of you are going to speak?
In case that I had to talk.
Okay. Okay, come on forward. I'll swear all three of you in case you want to talk. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, please state your name as you begin to speak, and also there should be a sign-up sheet at the podium. I'd like you to make sure that you fill out that information before you leave the podium, okay? Please proceed.
All right, so my name is Marina Corcoran. I am an employee at Club Paseo del Alto. I am the administrative assistant. So I had an opportunity to look at the video. Last time I was not able to attend. My apologies for that. However, I did watch the video, so I will be addressing some concerns that everyone had, and hopefully I can better clarify that for everyone. I am going to go by the finding facts that you have up there, and we'll go with number 1. So our plan is to do the exact opposite. We're not expecting to cause any public endangerment. We recognize the increase in people in need within our community, and our hope and goal is to serve them. So we offer bread and food pantries weekly that provide healthier options to those in need. And as far as for our classes, we have computer, English, arts and crafts, which can be detailed as paper flowers, alebrijas, piñatas, and
Okay, let me interrupt you for a second. Okay, you're presenting information which was really part of the presentation of what the whole program is all about. So I know you weren't here, so you weren't here to witness it, but do you have any new information or any comments to the new information presented by city staff?
Okay, yes, so the concerns that you, I'm sorry, I forgot the name, but number 2 was a concern. So the administrative hours are from 9 to 6. There's only going to be 2 employees there during that time. After 6 is when the classes start, and there will be a limit of only 15 people, but typically it's less than that. After 9:30, which is just the end of a couple days within the week, there'll be 1 assistant who stays after to clean. The other finding is for the food and bread pantries. The bread pantry is within the Friday hours of operation, 9 to 5, and then the bread pantry is from 9 to 5, and the food pantry is on Sundays. And I'll get into a little bit of details on that, and I can show you if someone wouldn't mind posting the traffic layout for me, so I can better explain the process when we get there. Okay, so to clarify with the parking, we have leased the back lot from Larson's Florist. So that's what you see there. I don't think that it was fully understood that back parking, we are in agreement with Mr. John Larson. So that brings us to a total of 27 spaces. So I'm going to explain how the Sunday food pantry works to show you guys that we aren't going to be causing any sort of traffic on the street. Again, this is appointment-based. It is 10 appointments every 15 minutes. So what they'll do is they'll have their appointment already at hand. We've had 6 months to prepare our current clients to prepare with the appointment system. So they're going to have their appointments ready in hand with a phone. They will be presented, if you can see, there's no pointer, towards the arrow on the right. That is where the first volunteer will be checking appointment times. They'll be asked to continue to swoop around to the back lot. And then once they're in by the garbage disposal, it's that little square in the top left corner, there'll be 3 employees or volunteers there. They will be finish registering the clients after their appointment's already been verified. Once they're done registering, their cars they'll ask to be opening their trunk or a door. So they'll have that ready. They'll be following down the line of the wall, and then they'll go to the front where there will be a truck. The refrigerated truck has the store food. There'll be pallets and tables with everything already prepared. So once the clients get to the front of the building, all we have to do is load the boxes. They'll never be stopping unless there's a pause in traffic, which is very rare. So it'll be a continuous movement all the way through, and then they'll be asked to leave once we close their trunks. They'll be aware to leave. Let me see if there's anything else that I didn't touch base on. I think that's okay. Okay. And then I also want to present some findings that Mr. Michael Bill and Miss Jane Hayes wanted to see regarding some complaints that were brought up. I don't know if I can bring them to you all or not, but it is a certificate of good standing with the state and federal to address the concerns about how the money is being handled. We report quarterly and monthly for financial documents to the federal and to the state because we are grant operated as well as with fundraisers and things of that nature. So we do have our current good standing letter, our federal letter, and then as far as certifications with the health department, we confirmed with the Northern Illinois Food Bank that we do not need a permit since we are not using any freezers or coolers in our building at this time. In the future, we plan on modifying our kitchen to have those items, but right now we're going to continue with the drive-through process. So the food will be in the refrigerated truck. And then I also have his, and all of the volunteers are certified for food safety basics.
Okay, thank you. And all of that is outside of the realm of this commission, okay? But those were items that were raised at the last meeting, so
Yes.
appreciate you responding to them.
Certainly.
Sorry to jump in. I just want to clarify that
Yeah.
the refrigerated truck will have to be parked in the back parking lot. Due to zoning, you can't have that stored in the front parking lot, so that's a small
Okay.
tweak to the plan, if the applicant agrees to that.
Yes, we can agree to that. But I will confirm with Armando. Yes, we will agree with that.
Okay, is that the end of your presentation?
That is the end of my presentation. I
Okay.
apologize and thank you for giving me the opportunity
no
to
need for
speak.
apologies. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of the petitioner? I'm going to ask now if there's anybody here in the audience that wanted to speak in regard to this request, whether it's for, in support of, or against. And again, we're looking for new information, not a rehash of all the information that was presented at the hearing last month, and you will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anybody here that wanted to address the commission on this? One person? Two? Okay, please come forward. Okay.
We forgot about mentioning about the Mr. Isa. He's the one is,
Mentioning what now?
Isaac is our computer programming for our app system that we're developing to make the process easier for our clientele.
Great, thank you. Okay, so two of you are going to speak, and what I'd like to do is, oh, three of you. Three of you. What I'd like to do is to swear the three of you in. There's the three that are just coming up. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and as you speak, please give your name, your affiliation to this project, and also make sure you fill out the sign-up sheet at the podium.
So
Thank you.
my name is Isaac Lopez. I am the designer and developer for Club Apaseo's appointment system. So to kind of explain in regards to this, like they said, so before people are even arriving to the building, they are pre-registering. So we're closing off registration 2 days before each event or each food and bread drive. So the one on Friday will be closed off on Wednesday. The one on Sunday will be closed off on Friday. So that's the finalization of appointments. So we're still going to comply within the 10 appointments within the certain amount of window, and that's already been programmed into the admin panel. So technically speaking, how this is going to work is they're going to create an event that will then show on a mobile application to where users are able to create an account. They get registered with a QR code, very similar to how you would check into a gym or if you have a gym membership. So it'd be very similar to that. From there, they can register for classes, they can register for the bread drives, the food pantries, and they will give them time so they can set their appointment. If the appointment is already filled, it will prevent them from registering that, so that way it's limited to the amount of people. So when they come in, they'll give their phone number or they'll show their barcode, that'll confirm their appointment, and the back lot, then that's when they'll scan it to check them in, showing when they submit that report to the state that that person did attend that food pantry and they did receive those services, and then they'll get their items and drive off. So it'll be a very quick process. It's just a scan of the QR code and then they're on their way. So it'll be very quick, very efficient, and that's kind of what we're working on right now. In the beginning, it's going to be, everybody's going to be able to register right now. We currently have that up on a live domain for everybody to access. And then later on in the month, we're gonna start doing the actual mobile app to where people start registering for the appointments. But for now, Club Apaseo is using their existing system in conjunction with the program that we developed. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead, do we have a question? Commissioner Anderson?
I understand that people are registering. Are they shopping? Are they picking out food, or are they already, is it already prepackaged and it's already prepackaged and then just given to them?
Yes,
correct?
that is correct. Everything's already prepared for them. So when they register for that, they're basically saying whatever items are in that bread drive or that food pantry,
Okay.
that's what they're getting.
Well, I heard the planning staff recommending 30 minutes, and you're saying you can do it in 15.
Depending on whatever that number is, whether it be 15 minutes, because I know that's what the applicant's trying to strive for, because they believe that they can handle that. But if it goes to 30 minutes, then we can adjust the time so that way it works within that realm.
Well, I see that you're trying to serve 110 to 120 appointments.
Yes.
And if you double the time, it's going to be hard to do that. So I guess the question is whether or not you would abide by the recommendations that the planning staff are recommending as a condition.
Yeah, so as of Wednesday, we were sent over the current list of what the appointment times are being set as, and those are what we inputted, which I do believe those do comply with what was originally set out. But if there is an adjustment that can be made for 15 minutes or what have you, it can be adjusted. So even if it decides to go up to 45 minutes or what have you, it's a very quick and easy change that we can make, and that will be reflected on everybody's appointments.
Okay, because the food distribution plan that we have
Yes.
in our packets are every 15 minutes at the moment.
Correct.
So you're saying you could go to 30 minutes?
Yes, we can go to 30 minutes, we can go to 45 minutes. Once we receive that request, it can be done within 15 minutes, those changes. And that will be reflected on all of the applications.
Okay.
That's just as far as the website design he's speaking of, but that would be something that Armando would have to.
If you're going to speak, make sure you're at the microphone, just so our record can pick it up.
Also, I
Being
wanted.
recorded, and we want to make sure that everybody's picked up by the microphone.
I want to jump in and just point out another part of the conditions, that this 30 minutes is our recommendation for the start. If they do choose to change their plan, we have given them that power through the Development Review Board to come back before city staff and ask for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I should have asked for those who are in support of this to come up first. So anybody else that's in support of this? Okay.
Hi, I have a little bit of a laryngitis still. My name is Mary Beth Roberti, and I'm with the Roberti Community House here in Waukegan, a partner with Armando and El Paseo as well. In regards to the time limits and things, since 2020, we've really done a lot of support for our community with the food support. Roberti Community House has set up different distribution points at different churches through the food bank as well, very similar model of what Armando is currently doing. The 15-minute spots is very doable. He's very efficient in how he's got things set up currently. And we do this all the time at different locations, and you have teams that are helping with traffic flow, and the boxes and things are prepared, and that 15-minute in and out is very doable. And again, we've been working with Armando, just sharing different supplies of food and things, and he's very, very organized, and I'm just in support of this. He helps many people in the community.
Thank you very much. Do the commissioners have any other questions of the individuals who spoke out in support of this project? Oh, did you sign in? Please do. So you are going to speak out in opposition?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and your
My name
affiliation.
is Joan Welton, and I represent the owners of the house directly to the west, which is 1504 Glen Flora, and the vacant land, which is to the west of that, which is 1518 Glen Flora. Concerning their food distribution, I think we've all seen food distributions at locations throughout the city, being it a one-day parking lot event or an appointment thing. People driving down the road see food, and they want it. And then this is also assuming that all their customers have smartphones to sign up for their time and get the entrance time and whatnot. Also considering the parking spaces, right now you've got a limit of 61 persons and 27 parking spaces. That's approximately 2 to 3 persons a car. Oftentimes people come by themselves, and I'm concerned about parking and traffic, basically. And then also, when you have events there, be it classes or whatever they have, who's going to be the security? Who's going to see that the students, the children, are picked up properly and not just dismissed and, milling the neighborhood on their own? So that is, my main concerns. And I think we all talked about the parking and the added traffic, being that it's about 2 blocks down from the charter school. And that alone at dismissal time, which they vary all different times depending on after-school activities, but like 4 o'clock is their main dismissal. They park up to Western Street and easy, a block and a half back, lined up to pick up their children. And then it occurs again at 5 p.m., sometimes 5:30 p.m. And it causes a disruption of traffic in that neighborhood. So that it's basically traffic and parking are my concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the objector?
I mean, I guess I would ask, does the Armando or his team have any response to those concerns? The one about security, and I did actually
Well,
think of.
that is the next item on the agenda,
Oh,
followed by the applicant.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
And they can up in that.
So my question is, I had actually thought when you were discussing the flow and the timing of people making appointments coming in, I actually had in my mind, and I didn't verbalize it, those same questions. What about people who don't have smartphones? How do you manage that? And then how do you manage people driving by who do want to pull in and get food, or they see that it's a food drive? What is your process for that, to address that? And then, of course, then I do think that there's a question of a little bit of security, maybe not necessarily daytime, but the rest of if you have evening events.
So you have a chance to respond to the commissioner and also to respond to the concerns that were raised by the objector. Okay?
Again, my name is Marina, thank you. So as far as the security system, we have installed security cameras in all of the building. It's actually currently already running at the building. And as far as for classes, children are only allowed to attend with their parents. They're not able to come in without a parent or anyone of a guardian or someone of that nature. But it's very rare that we receive children. This is more classes prompted more for adults. But if we were to receive children, of course, we want to offer that to the community, and we would allow that as long as they have a guardian or some role. As far as the parking, again, there's a 15-person cap in our classes. For the food pantry that's on Sunday, it is a drive-through system. There is that we're not going to recommend, or no one will be parking. There would just be a stall in the moment of when a car is loaded. Secondly, when people come in that are driving down the street and they see that there's food, they'll be given a special piece of paper which shows them how to schedule an appointment. And they will go through the process of the drive-through. Because we don't want to have that traffic on the street, so they will go through that process. And then they'll be given a time Monday and Tuesday to schedule their appointments. They'll have that paper that states that. As far as for the people that do not have smartphones, they are welcome to come in, walk in directly to the office, and I will be scheduling their appointments myself or the other receptionist. And that is how that works for that. And I think I hit all the concerns.
Okay. Did the objector want to respond to that? No? Okay. Then ask the applicant if they want to make a final statement, or is that your final statement?
Well, like I mentioned, I'm sorry.
It works this way.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned the last time, everything is gonna be prepared one day before with the volunteers. So that way, we got everything set up half an hour before the starting appointments. So when they come in, we're gonna put all the 10 cars. Sometimes, they don't show up at the same time, but always is gonna be the frame time. They go in, and I don't know, you're welcome to look at our website as a Club Paseo Alto and the Facebook. We did one video from how we do it here in the 1220 Grand Avenue, because everything is appointment, and we put it in, everything set up, and we service these Sundays. We put the chronometer, the times for 50 minutes, and we service 43 cars in 50 minutes. And like I said, you're welcome to come. I wanted to wish you to show you the video, but if you want, I can show you by the Facebook page, and you can see how everything is, because we know the traffic concern for you guys. That's why we start from September from the last year. We start to do this kind of new system, because we know from before we didn't have any appointments. We recognize that we have more than 150 cars laying in the two parking lots, and we got big lines in the street, and the situation that we look, and this grant giving opportunity to do growing more, and we know that the space is shorter. So we said, well, the way we service, and I can prove it with the video. I did walking with the car when they coming in from this location. I walking with them, and I video everything, and it's 3 minutes that we taking the cars off. Well, and like I said, the total for 50 minutes, it was 43. And this prime time that we do for 10 cars for 50 minutes, everything is gonna be ready. No one's gonna stop that much, only for 3 minutes as the most as we are. And like she mentioned, we thinking about that situation that somebody is coming without appointment. We're gonna have a special, flyer, and we're gonna walk into coming in, and we know there's an appointment, but the people right now is recognizing there has to be appointment. This day, like yesterday, we filled out all the appointments for this weekend, and we got more than 100 text messages asking for food, asking for help, and people get very sad, I need it. So, and I was, oh my God, I had to think how we can help this demand for my community. And I know some few Indian people, some African American, some Caucasian. There are not many. We try to do bilingual to open the door to everybody. But, this way, and my people, like I said, my Spanish people needs a lot. And they look us very clear that we are part for the city. Too. But thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have two emails here that I would like to read into the record. They were sent Thursday, February 8th, 2024, 3:36 p.m. from Margaret Carrasco. Hi, Noel. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend tonight's meeting. However, requested this email and attached photos and documents be shown to the review board tonight prior to deciding. 1, photo of the recent weekly Sunday event in which they utilized 3 parking lots. 2, photo of Armando Pena himself admitting they had 150 families at the event. 3, confidential. The letter of the Homeland Security official in charge of Lake County investigations. He is conducting the investigation of Club El Paseo and Armando Pena. Please withhold his name. There are photos here, and just of cars. Doesn't really show a lot. And the next email, 4 p.m. today, February 8th, also from Margaret Carrasco. It says, attaches a posting by Armando Peña, president of Club El Paseo, and the applicant in which he brags, all in capital letters, about giving out food on January 30th, 2024. 180 families, cars in 1 hour. That's a lot of cars, so they all had an appointment, but it was for the same time, causing excessive overflow cars, and they used 3 parking lots to do. 1 lot is strictly full, used for setup and for the cars of their 25 volunteers each Sunday. Please communicate to the board members. So these are all issues that have been raised. You've already responded to all of this. And we're at a point now where I'd like to ask the commissioners if they are ready to make a motion, either to recommend support.
And before we make a motion, I want to remind the commissioners that there were 3 conditions that were proposed by staff that did not make it into the staff report. Persons picking up food must remain in their vehicle, no overnight sheltering, everyone must be out of the building by 10 p.m., and the refrigerated truck may not be parked in the front. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I would appreciate if you could clarify whether it'll be 30 or 15 just for our reporting.
And so if you all make a motion, keep in mind whether you want to include all or some of those conditions, and as to Sam's last point, clarification on the rate of cars.
I'd like to ask the applicants, the petitioners, if they have read the conditions and if they believe that they can abide with them. Including the conditions that did not make it into the letter recommendation. Okay, let the record note that the applicant answered in the affirmative. Okay, I would like to ask if anybody would like to make a motion.
I move to adopt the findings of fact and recommend approval of the conditional use permit as set forth in zoning calendar 2741, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report and that were given today, including that refrigerated food will be distributed through a refrigerated truck. There will be no overnight sheltering, and 30-minute, at least to start with, 30-minute appointments.
We have a motion by Commissioner Anderson.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Bill. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
I believe it needs to include that people will stay in their car for distribution and the truck will be parked in the back.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and if we can just get,
I'll accept that.
and the seconder.
Second by Commissioner Bill. You second the revised motion. Okay. Any further discussion on this motion? Okay, I just want to make a comment because it's kind of bothered me last time. I really felt last time that people in the commission were being swayed by a lot of the accusations that were being made and information that did not pertain to planning and zoning, which is the purpose that we sit on this commission. And I really felt that we were being swayed by hearsay, by accusation, by unsubstantiated claims and charges, and we were being pulled away from our purpose in being here. I also felt that if there was a problem with the food distribution issue, that part could have been delayed, and we could have still approved the program, which is a functioning program, which has had a lot of success and appears to be doing a lot of good for our community. So there are a lot of ways that it could have been handled. But I'm glad that this is, we've had a chance to think about this and, come to a decision on this. So where do we stand now? Moved and second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Grimes,
Yes.
Haug,
Yes.
Haynes,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck with your. Next step is going to be Monday, March 4th, at the Community Development Committee, which meets in this chamber at approximately 5 p.m. You can check with city staff before that date to confirm the final time. That'll be Monday, March 4th. Okay. New business. Item 4, zoning calendar number 2742, variance from the maximum fence height allowed in the front yard at 1201 North Sheridan Road. And I understand Commissioner Grimes, because he is employed by the School District 60, he is going to recuse himself?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, please proceed.
My name is Isabel Guadarrama, I'm a city planner, and I'll be presenting the variance from the maximum fence height allowed in the front yard at 1201 North Sheridan Road. This application was submitted by the Board of Education, District Number 60. As you can see on the map on the right, this property is in the R1 zoning district, which is single-family residence, where educational institutions are permitted. For each use, there is a yard requirement where nothing can be built within that setback, mostly for visibility issues or purposes. For educational institutions, there is a front yard requirement of 50 feet from the front property line. Within this setback, they want a fence, which we require a 4-foot ornamental fence, or up to 4 feet. And ornamental to us means that it's 50% opaque or open. So imagine a picket fence where every board is basically taken out. So 50% is open to the property. They are proposing a fence of up to 7 feet and 8 inches, as you can see in the image. That's the tallest point of the fence. Next to that pillar would be the 6-foot iron aluminum black fence. And they did provide an image of how it would look. As you know, the previous fence wasn't in a good condition anymore, so they did decide that it got too expensive and it's just hard to replace parts of the fence. So they are proposing something that would be easier to replace if it were to be hit again. I did want to remind you that there was an application to landmark the property a few months ago. That was denied by City Council, so at this point, they're not required to follow the same design or material of the fence that used to be there. So they are free to propose what they are requesting here today. But I did want to remind you that the denial by City Council would result in the applicant following all the fence requirements in the front yard. Either way, if this is denied or approved, they would require a building permit to install the fence. And that's all I have.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions for city staff?
I'm sorry, I did want to point out, there was a conversation about the gate that is shown in this image. That will not be part of the proposal. As shown here, there is no gate, so it's literally just the pillars and the fence with no gate. But there was talk about the gate.
Commissioner Bill.
I just have a question. That fence has been there ever since I was a kid, and so it does bring back memories, and it does look better with a fence. But there's a lot of accidents that happen on that fence, and it gets hit quite often. Has the city done anything looking at traffic control? I know they have somebody told me they have a flashing light now and stuff like that. Has that diminished the hits, or are we still having a lot of traffic accidents, and should traffic control also be considered with this?
I actually don't know that. I don't know if Noel does.
There have been some traffic calming measures put in place, including the flashing light, some reflective signs with arrows and that kind of thing. I don't actually have traffic count information or the timing of the installation of those, so I'm not sure, but I don't believe that it was hit since those were put in. The fence has now been removed, the old wall and fence, so I don't know if they've had any drive-ons onto the property since then either. But I have noticed that it is much more visible now with the yellow and black markings and the flashing lights.
Commissioner Haug.
Yeah, I live right next door there. I walk by there every day, and as they were removing the brick, one car went in. I think it actually flipped, and that was after they put the calming stuff in there. So again, obviously this is not the purview of this committee at all, but it is a serious concern because they are just horrendous accidents. I mean, they're not just, break your arm or something, it's deaths. And, I'd really like the city to look at putting a guardrail system along Sheridan Road. And I don't know why it happens there. It's such a subtle curve. I just don't understand it at all, but I would count probably about 4 in the last year where the cars have run into the wall straight on or flipped their car. So, very, very serious accidents.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions by commissioners? Okay, I'd like to ask the petitioner to please come forward. Mr. Moten, is that you? Okay, all three of you, welcome.
Good evening.
I'd like to swear y'all in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please present your case, and as you begin to speak, please give your name and your affiliation to the project.
Sure. So my name is LeBaron Moten. I'm Deputy Superintendent for the Waukegan School District. My name is Gaspar Petrello. I work with Archon Associates. We're the architect for the district.
And I'm Bob Adamack, Director of Operations for the Waukegan School District.
Welcome, please proceed.
I can't. So the purpose here is to talk about replacement of the fence, whatever possibilities we have for the district. We're looking to, instead of replacing the fence with masonry all the way across, we're breaking it up into pillars, and we have more metal fence in between. In the event that a vehicle does run into it, then it'll be a smaller section to repair, and it won't look like a repair. We did mention that the gate is not really an option. We are locating the fence in the exact same location as it was before, which is basically at the property line, right behind the sidewalk, as you can see. The height of the fence is the same height as it was before, so the variance doesn't allow you to have a fence that high, so I'm sorry, the zoning does not allow you to have the fence that high, so that is part of the variance. Also, another part of the variance is its location. The setback is 50 feet, as was mentioned earlier. 50 feet would put it into the parking lot and would obviously interrupt where vehicles park today. Is there anything else that I'm missing on that? No. That's the gist.
Okay, do any of the commissioners have questions of the petitioner? Commissioner Haug.
Are you going to remove the rubble foundation that's currently there?
Yes, we're in the process of removing the foundation and restoring it to grass till we get approval for the fencing, and then we'll remove the grass if it's approved.
Commissioner Haynes.
I'm reading in the variance application that you're petitioning for this variance to allow construction of a new fence with 7 to 10 feet tall to appropriately match the character of the existing structure. What are you referring to in terms of the existing structure? The building?
The brick, right, the brick color.
Sorry?
The color.
Yeah, we're trying to match the color of the building, correct. The brick?
Okay, so the color of the brick, but the height of the fence is what's in question here, and I'm curious as to what the difference would be between a 4-foot fence and a 7 or a 10-foot fence in terms of matching the character of the structure.
You know, so the character of the original fence as well. So
They're trying to maintain the same look of the old fence?
correct, the height of the original fence versus the new fence.
Okay. And that's just an aesthetic choice? Meaning, it's not necessary to have a 7 to 10-foot fence for security or preventing cars from going in there, or?
It's, the gate isn't there, so it wouldn't affect security. You just walk around it, so no, it wouldn't affect security. It is just an aesthetic to try to keep the character of the original fence.
Okay.
Right.
Any more questions for the petitioner? Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask if there's anybody else here who would like to speak out in support of this request? Is there anybody here who would like to speak out in opposition to this request? I'm neutral, but I'd like to speak out. Sure, please come forward. I'll swear you both in, since you might both be speaking. Please raise your right
Mr. and
hand.
Mrs. Patrick Siebert. We're the adjoining neighbors
Okay.
to the Lincoln Center.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed, and make sure you give us your names again and for the record, and sign in on the sign-in sheet before you leave the podium. And the presenters also, I don't know if you had a chance to sign your names on the, yeah, but please do it before you leave, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so I live to the south of there. The fence that they just took down.
Please
has been
repeat your
a-
names again, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick Siebert. My wife, Rhonda Siebert.
Thank you.
We've lived there, I've been there nearly 40 years. My wife's been with me for 30 years. So I've been a staple of the neighborhood. They've always been a good neighbor. The fence that they just took down, it was really a shame to see that go. It just, and the height of the fence, I'm glad they're going with something high because that really adds to the character of the neighborhood. The character of the neighborhood has just diminished since that fence has gone away. It really adds a lot of value to the neighborhood. So the higher fence is, thank you.
We're in agreement with that, yeah.
We're in agreement with that. Now, what I do is, the first house to the south of the Lincoln Center, he was supposed to be here tonight, he didn't show up. He's renovating that house right now, trying to get it back into good condition. A lot of work he's put into it. And then I have the second and third house south of there. So what the Lincoln Center did in the past, and this is new business, I'm not talking about the new fence anymore. They expanded their parking lot approximately, I think, 8 years ago in the rear. And they built their parking lot right up to the property line of my neighbor. It's right there. And so that's a commercial parking lot. And per 443 about fences in commercial parking lots of adjoining residential neighborhoods, that there's supposed to be a fence there, 6 to 8 foot, privacy fence. So currently, you guys are parking all your buses in my backyard. And we've always had a beautiful view, and it kind of looks like a junkyard.
We hear beeping and.
Yeah, the reverse bells of the buses are just beep, beep, and it's like a construction zone every day. And then there must have been, I don't know what happened, but you guys put in a big wood post with a big 1,000-watt floodlight up there. Maybe not 1,000-watt, but it's a very high post. And the glare from this is coming over, shining through my windows in my house.
Goes 4 yards over.
I can't, when I look to the north, I can't see any of my property. I'm so glared out. I have to block the light in order to see.
Yeah, it's spilling.
Yeah, the light spill. And there must have been a problem with people getting in the buses for you guys to put that light up. Something must have occurred. I don't know what occurred, but that big wood pole that you put up with the new light on it is just, it's intrusive.
Yeah, maybe they can
So
put it down.
before the parking lot was there, they were the greatest neighbor ever. But they put the parking lot right up to the property line. They're parking 10 buses and now some big yellow school buses also. They got the short white ones. So it's turned into a parking lot. It'd be nice if the buses could face the hill and be pushed away.
Maybe put the fence up.
Maybe some solutions, I don't know. But
Because there is an ordinance. to
for the
have
ordinance,
fencing.
a commercial business property, there's supposed to be a fence there. So that's all I'm really asking.
Okay, Commissioner Hug.
I share your pain. I'm on the north side of that property, and I got the same thing. I could literally read a book at
Yeah, you
night
have
with the
you have
lights
a,
out.
oh, so it's shining to the north too?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's
Yeah,
very,
this
very,
new one
very
that
If
bright.
we
you guys
sit on
just
our
put
porch,
up.
it's just, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very bright, and same sort of thing you're talking about.
I'm
yeah.
getting almost 5-foot candles in my yard, which is 120, 80, 200, 200,
well, he knows.
250 feet away.
Yeah, I
So-
walk by your house every day, so I know.
Yeah, yeah, so,
Is there
But it-
anything you guys could do to?
But it sounds as if you are in favor of the fence as presented.
fence out front, that's why I said this is really
Yeah.
new business that needs, the school district needs to be aware of, you know? And the parking lot in the back, it is an ordinance. I pulled it up in the ordinance book. I printed it out and brought it here regarding
I'm sure.
commercial parking lots from office buildings or whatever, butting up to a residential neighborhood. I can give you a copy of it.
Chair, if I may be heard on this
Please.
point, I want to remind the commission, I'm sure the commission needs no reminder, that their consideration has to be within the purview of their jurisdiction. Here, they have to follow the standards. There's set standards. The subject matter of this application is the fence. And if there are other unrelated issues, enforcement actions that can be taken, that can certainly be handled in another way. However, it is inappropriate in this venue
We didn't
to,
know.
the main point is that the Planning and Zoning Commission would not be able to do anything on the,
Okay.
right, on the matters
I
that you
wasn't
brought
sure
up.
if this was the right venue. I called, somebody said, yeah, this is the right venue, bring it in. So that's, I'm sorry.
I do want to point out that we do have our licensing and code enforcer in the back, Steve Negron. So if you would like to, I don't know, if
I
repeat
would
is
like to
this,
talk to the school board first,
Okay.
personally introduce myself to you guys and have them talk.
but Stephen is here. There are,
Thank you.
help you out. Stephen Negron, he's in the back by the table.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Any of the other commissioners have questions or comments? Okay, is there anybody here who would like to speak out in opposition to this request? I guess we're ready for a final statement. Please, we'd like the petitioners to make their final statement and also sign their names on the sign-in sheet.
So I just want to say, we want to thank the commission for the consideration and the comments that we heard this evening. You know, this will be a good option. We did hear, as was stated earlier, the denial previously of the landmark status. So yes, some of the character we are trying to maintain here on the property. Also, in addition to some of the traffic mitigation, we did assist with trimming some trees on some lights near the street previously when that was brought up to help assist potentially with future traffic concerns there. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to ask if the commission, if anybody on the commission would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the findings of fact and recommend approval of the variation of application number 2742.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I jumped the gun. I've got a couple of letters here that I should have read into the record. Can I do that first, please? Thank you. Yeah, we have one letter of objection from Charles M. Rush at 1106 North Sheridan Road. And he says he is in opposition to this, and the explanation is lack of explanation regarding design. Okay? So he just doesn't have the information that he feels he needs regarding the design. The second letter is a letter of support from Sarah Jean Stewart at 1315 Eastview in Waukegan. And she says, "I have always cared for young children and believe that the grounds could be well used for children if we could plan the entrances with the proper materials, especially maybe in and out, and maybe not the road that is next to your school, as we are and have our main interest not using the same stoplight." Okay, that is a letter of support. All right, now, I'd like to ask for that motion.
Okay, I'll read it again. How's that? Motion to adopt the findings of fact and recommend approval of the variation for application number 2742.
Motion by Commissioner Haug. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. Do we have any further discussion on that motion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Haug,
Yes.
Haynes,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations, good luck with your project. The next step is Monday, March 4th. The Community Development Committee, which meets in this chamber at approximately 5 p.m., and you can check with city staff prior to that to confirm the exact time. And just to remind you, we are a recommending body only. The final decision is made by the city council. Okay? Thank you for coming. All right, and the next item on the agenda is an update regarding the UDO, the Unified Development Ordinance.
Hello again. I'm here to provide a little bit of an update on the UDO. I'm sure my team can attest I could drone on about the UDO for hours, so I'll try to keep this short. Thank you all for your patience. I know you've been hearing about this project for a really, really long time. We are excited to be nearing the end. We've got the end in sight, and we look forward to getting it for approval. Before that, though, we want to lay out the schedule for that, let you know the timing, what we're hoping for, as well as give you a couple updates on the major changes we're expecting to bring to you, and then I'll end on the public meetings that we have scheduled for this. And by the way, the Unified Development Ordinance, for anybody listening or who doesn't know, is an update of our zoning ordinance and our sign ordinance and all of our ordinances. It's a modernization and a simplification, hopefully making it easier to build here, to use your property, and to enjoy our town. So in a few days, we're expecting to get the entire revised draft back from our consultants, Leighton Design. We've been doing a really rigorous review process, my team and I, and that has all changed the document. It's going to be fun to get it all back in one piece, and we're going to hope to release it out to the aldermen and to you all shortly after that, as well as to our legal team, people in City Hall. We want to get a lot of eyes on this. The first public set of eyes, our stakeholder focus group, is going to review it on February 21st. That group is a member of individuals who have a vested interest in the UDO. They're members of the community, and we want to hear from them. That's going to be led by our consultants. And then we're going to have a couple public meetings in March, the first of which is going to be here in the council chambers, and the second is going to be out in the community. We're thinking the Park District Field House. We're going to have the Intergovernmental Committee review that as well. There's parts of the UDO that are affecting the Park District and CLC and the school district, so getting their feedback before we ultimately release it to the public on a targeted date of April 4th. I know that seems somewhat far away, but for us, that is a sprint. And then for approvals, we're hoping to bring that to the April 11th Planning and Zoning Commission. So you will be the first body to really review it and make a recommendation for approval. If all goes well, and if there's a recommendation that night, it will go to the Committee Development Committee and the City Council on May 6th for final approval. By no means is that the end. After it's approved, we're going to enter a phase of implementing that with our contractors, with our homeowners, switching the permitting over to that ordinance. We're going to be doing some training and some workshops with all of you, with members of City Hall, to make sure we're all comfortable with the ordinance, so we all know the rules. And then, of course, there's going to be education and outreach. This is going to be a great thing for the town. We want people to know what they're allowed to do with their property, and we want to, shout it from the hilltops that we've got a really good modern ordinance. So as far as what's changing for you, the two things I want to go over today very briefly are the review of ordinance or variances similar to what we've seen tonight, as well as our proposal to remove overlay districts and replace them with planned unit development designations. I'll get into that. But first, for the variances, there's a few kinds of variances. The first is a minor variance, and these are your very basic changes to the zoning that really aren't very controversial. So as you can see, these are the terms. So for example, if there was a development that was required 100 parking spaces and they were providing 96, well, that's not really much of an objective decision. So we feel that the Development Review Board is the justified body to hear those cases. You know, the public outreach and the 250-foot notices and a hearing like this may be a little overkill. Of course, those meetings are still public, but changing that. Everything else is considered a major variance. So those are something like you heard today for the school district fence, where it's a larger excess of the zoning ordinance. It does need that formal hearing process. The public is probably going to want to comment on that, and we're bringing that to you. The change is that we want that to be a little bit quicker of a process. So in a lot of communities, the equivalent of your commission has final say on those variances. So for example, again, the school district fence, that's a standalone variance application within that range of a major variance. Under the UDO, we're proposing that they would get their final approval from you all at the Planning and Zoning Commission. So how that would work, and before that, variances that are tied to a CUP, so like with an auto body shop, we have a conditional use permit for an auto repair shop, and they have a variance for the lot size, and a variance for the setback, and a variance for the fence. Those all need that comprehensive review, and really that adds to the conditional use permit, so that we're gonna hope to keep recommending to City Council. So again, to summarize that, the zoning administrator, our department, will take in those standalone ordinances like the school district fence. We will send that to the Planning and Zoning Commission for final approval. And just in case, there is an optional appeal process to the City Council if it's needed. If the standards were not met, if it was not a just approval, they have that route. For the major variances that are tied to bigger projects, or it is a more comprehensive review, we'll take in that application. It'll come to you for a recommendation of approval or a recommendation for denial. That'll move to the Community Development Committee and ultimately be decided by the City Council. So saving 6 weeks on some of those, but maintaining that review. Any questions on that before I move on? Cool. So the second thing I want to very quickly go over is the fact that we're proposing to get rid of our overlay districts. So right now we have an overlay district of downtown and the lakefront and over Fountain Square. And those work, they get the job done, but they're not as clean as we'd like them to operate. They're not very easy to understand from the applicant's side. So what a lot of communities do is they designate them as planned unit developments. So the planned unit development designation will replace the overlay districts. It will still allow us to have that review to make sure that we're still meeting those downtown lakefront design guidelines. And it allows for kind of like a give and take negotiation in approving these. So it allows you to say, hey, you know, I'm giving you this more scrutinized review. We're gonna allow you to, you know, maybe exceed some of the zoning requirements of height or of a setback, and in return, you're gonna provide a public good, whether that's extra landscaping, green building codes, things like that. The way those would kick in is if it's a project in the downtown or on the lakefront districts that are 10,000 square feet or above, that's automatically a planned unit development. We got that number because that currently is the overlay district, and the lakefront is 10,000 square feet is overlay district. Anywhere else in the city, a development that's 50,000 square feet or above is a PUD. Or if an applicant says, hey, I think this is going to be best for my project to go in as a planned unit development, we would allow them to do that. So another interesting thing about planned unit developments is it allows kind of a pre-approval review. So if the applicant chooses, they can appear before you for a preliminary hearing, say, hey, I've got this idea, here's my proposal. They gather your feedback, so they file with us. They can choose to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, with the City Council, and gather that feedback if they choose. And regardless, it comes back to us. They file a formal application. You hear it at the Planning and Zoning Commission, you make a recommendation, Community Development Committee, and then 2 weeks later, the City Council. So they don't have to do that, but it's a very successful thing of getting community concerns out of the way, changing their application to make sure it's really fitting the needs of the community, and getting a cleaner approval process. So it seems like more steps, but in the end of the day, people find that actually makes it faster in the end. Lastly, we have 3 upcoming public meetings. So the first of which is going to be in March 7th in the City Council chambers. We're just going to do open house style. Come and look at your zoning districts. Come look at the major changes. There's a bit of a typo on there, my bad, but it'll be somewhere in the hours of 3 p.m. to 7 or 8:30. Our consultants are hopefully going to come join us for that. The second public meeting is going to be March 19th. We're looking at the field house. It's out there in the community for those that can't make it to City Hall. And that'll be from 6:30 to 8:30. That's all I had prepared for you today. If you have any questions at this point, I'm happy to answer them.
Are there any questions?
I just want to make a statement. It's about time. Thank you, really.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I just add for
Would you
just a
please?
second to what Sam said? As he mentioned, we will be getting you the document. We want your feedback on it. So, you know, we're going to send it in a Word format, so if you're comfortable with the redlining functions in Microsoft Word and you want to do it that way, that would be great. We're terrific with that. If you want to send us an email with a list of page number and section number and what you want changed, that's fine. If you want to schedule a meeting or a phone call with one of us to go through it, we'll do that too. So whatever way works for you will work for us, but we definitely want your input on general stuff and specific stuff on that ordinance. If it's changing a word here and there, removing a comma, whatever it is, we want to hear it from you.
How many pages is it?
Oh, we don't know yet. Many. It's many. But we don't know
And
what
this
the
is
final-
this March, next month.
Yes, well, it'll be before you, hopefully, in your April meeting, and we hope to have it for you by the end of this month,
Great, thank you.
to give you more than 30 days, hopefully 6 weeks to look at it.
Thank you very much. Any other questions about this or comments? Not, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Grimes,
Seconded.
second by Commissioner Haynes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 8:13.